Hello again, it's Locknoob, and on a recent video I did on core shimming, Glenn J commented, could you use a tape measure to make some core shims? Now I can see where Glenn was coming from, because if you look at this commercial shim, this is actually from Sparrows, you can see that it's got a slight curve to the shim that helps you slide it along the core inside the lock. And if you look at a tape measure, you'll see that it also has a curve. Now clearly this is this particular tape measure is way too big, even though it's a really small one. However, you can get smaller tape measures, these sort of keyring ones, and these are about £1 each. They're really not expensive, and there's all sorts of different versions you can buy. Now if you look at the material there, you can see that it doesn't have much of a curve. Not too much of a problem, because you can force a curve into the metal once you insert it into the lock, and the material thickness itself in terms of width isn't too far off what you get on a commercial shim. If I line them up, you know, maybe the commercial shim's a tiny bit wider, but not by much. So I guess the best thing to do is to sort of try. Let's pull out a whole length of this, sacrifice it. There we go. And now we've got a whole long piece of steel. Now it'd be interesting to see, I think, how the thickness of this material compares. I've got some calipers here, so let me just turn this on and zero them. Let's have a look. So a commercial shim is about 0. Let's say between 0.01 and 0.02. Okay, and this material here, I imagine it's a bit thicker, truthfully. 0.04. Let's be fair and put it on the end like this. There we go. 0.05 maybe. So we're talking already, or 0.04, already about twice the thickness, and it is painted. Doesn't mean it won't work, it just means that we're limited a little bit in terms of what it might work in. So let's do some tidying up. Let's trim there, probably going to ruin these scissors, and let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters of shim. There we go. Now I've got a sort of length of shim. Okay, now I've got a lock here which has all standard pins in, so it should make it all fair. Let's just pop that circlip off the back. I've got the key in again, because we're not trying to show how to shim as such, more show that the shim might work. And let's try this material. So this is it's very thin, but not as thin as a commercial shim. Can I get it into the lock? So pins up. It doesn't have a curve on it, but as I'm pushing it in, it should take the curve of the lock. Yep, okay. It's a little bit stiff. I can see some of the paint scraping off the shim as I insert it. So this isn't massively smooth, but it does go in. Yeah, it's a bit too thick actually, and you can see it's only gone in about 1 centimetre, so that isn't great. It's not bad, but it's not great. I think this could work with some locks, just not this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take some sandpaper to a length of this and see whether that works. Okay, so we're back. I've taken some 400 grit wet and dry paper to this piece of tape measure. I've taken all the paint off. Let's see what the calipers now say. This only took a few seconds. It genuinely didn't take very long at all. You probably do the whole tape measure in a couple of minutes. and it's still, yeah, it's probably taken 0.5 of an inch off, 0.0005. So it's got thinner, but will it work? Well, let's see. Let's cut a length of this shim off. Try to insert it into a lock and see, does removing the paint make this shim material usable? Well, it's going in a fashion, but it's really stiff. So I think the answer is yes, you can use a steel tape measure as shim material, but my recommendation is you don't. It's just a little bit too thick. Even the really cheap thin stuff from a sort of a pocket tape measure, I don't know if you can get much thinner than that, truthfully, but I'd say it's still just too thick to use. That's worth a try though, Glenn J. Thank you for making me give this a go. But yeah, I think that this is just not the right material for shimming. It's possible you find some locks that it could work in, but you're going to have to put in quite a bit of effort for not much reward, I think. And I'd definitely recommend getting some commercial shims from somewhere. All right, I'll see you next time.